support the story about the death of the commander of the Russian Volunteer Corps, Denis Kapustin, a video was created showing a drone destroying a bus in which he was allegedly present. This was reported by the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense, reminding that this was done to preserve the life of the RVC commander as part of Timur's special unit of the GUR and to expose the enemy's agent network. Military intelligence officers carried out a complex, multi-stage special operation during which Kapustin's death was staged.
To support the cover story, a video was created showing the work of two strike drones. The first drone flew into the minibus where Kapustin was located. The second recorded the aftermath of the strike, the burning vehicle.
The GUR says that the masterminds of the crime within the Russian special services believe the video provided and paid the Ukrainian intelligence officers for the job, $500,000. On December 27, 2025, information appeared about the death of the founder and commander of the RDK, Denis Kapustin, in the Zaporizhzhia direction. According to the RDK statement, the defender of Ukraine died while carrying out a mission as a result of an enemy FPV drone strike. On January 1, 2026, the GUR reported that RDK commander Kapustin was alive. It was noted that Russia's operation to eliminate him had been thwarted. The head of the GUR, Kirilo Budanov, personally announced that Kapustin is alive and that his assassination had been ordered by Russian intelligence services who allocated funds for the crime. $500,000.
I am truly pleased that the significant money received, which was intended for ordering your assassination, ultimately went to support our collective noble struggle.
It was reported that as a result of a complex special operation by the GUR, which lasted more than a month, the life of RDK commander Kapustin was saved, whom the Russian dictator Vladimir Putin considers his personal enemy. Additionally, the circle of individuals who ordered the crime within the Russian intelligence services, as well as the perpetrators, has been identified.
The Russian shadow fleet is going under. Ukrainian drones have been at work on the ships. And they did such a good job that even ships connected to Russia, which were not attacked by Ukraine, have started to cut off shipping ties with it.
Since the safety of our personnel and assets is our top priority, we are ceasing all such operations.
Putin is furious, and even Erdogan is too. He couldn't keep silent.
We are issuing the necessary warning to all parties regarding such incidents.
How hard did Kiev hit the Kremlin? Who exactly attacked the ship? And what does Turkey have to do with it? All this and more. Watch in just a moment. Russian ships came under attack on Friday, November 28th. Almost simultaneously, the tankers Kairos and Verat were hit. Both sail under the flag of Gambia but operate for Russia. The ships are included in the EU and UK sanctions lists for transporting Russian oil above the cap set by these countries' limit. A major fire broke out on the Kairos. And as for the Verat, they decided it hadn't been finished off yet. On Saturday morning, it was attacked again. I need help.
Drone attack! Drone attack!
Please help.
This is Virat!
None of the crew members on the ships were injured. The same can't be said for the ships themselves. To avoid any speculation, the security service immediately revealed their hand. It was their operation, and a highly successful one. The legendary Sea Baby maritime drones carried out the mission.
The Sea Baby maritime drones disabled the ships. These ships could have been carrying nearly $70 million worth of oil and were helping the Kremlin circumvent international sanctions.
Sanctions enforcement is also necessary, and it is carried out by the security service of Ukraine. Professionally, and I would even say quite spectacularly. In terms of
spectacle, the security service is second to none. Besides the very fact of the Russian ships being hit, it's important to note their location at the time of the attack. And they were located just a few dozen nautical miles from Turkey. At the moment of the attack, the Kairos was 28 nautical miles from the coast and the Verat was 38 miles away. The Turkish president was shocked and immediately decided to express his indignation, though not directly to Ukraine, but simply lamented the incident as a threat to security.
The war between Russia and Ukraine seems to have reached a point where it clearly threatens the safety of shipping in the Black Sea. The Friday attack on merchant vessels in our exclusive economic zone signals a troubling escalation of the situation.
As for the consequences of the attack on the Kairos and Severa for Russia, the Kremlin will be feeling them for a long time to come.
This is a significant loss for Russia's shadow fleet. We're talking about losses amounting to tens of millions of dollars. And although it's being said that these ships were not loaded, they were only heading to the port of Novorossiysk. However, we all understand how much oil they've already transported, how much Russia has earned from these tankers.
But these were not the only losses for the Russians. On that same Friday, November 28th, news broke of yet another incident involving a tanker that was allegedly linked to the transportation of Russian oil. We're talking about the vessel Mersin. It was anchored off the coast of Senegal when on November 27th, 4 explosions occurred, causing seawater to flood into the engine compartment. No one was injured. It is unknown who was behind the explosions. However, after this, the Turkish company that owns the tanker announced that it would now immediately cease all operations with Russia, and it will no longer carry out any shipments related to the Russian Federation. The ship owners also added that they had strictly adhered to all international sanctions regimes, in particular the price caps on Russian oil and other trade restrictions. But now the security situation in the region has significantly worsened.
Throughout our entire operation, we have strictly complied with all international sanctions regimes, fully adhering to the G7 price cap mechanism, the EU, and all relevant trade restrictions. However, the security situation in the region is not very good. It has significantly deteriorated. After a thorough assessment, we have concluded that the risks faced by our vessels and crew have become unacceptable, the agency added. Since the safety of our personnel and assets is our top priority, we are ceasing all such operations.
On December 2nd, explosions were also reported on the Russian tanker MID Volga II. The vessel was attacked 80 miles off the coast of Turkey while en route from Russia to Georgia carrying a cargo of sunflower oil. Russian media immediately blamed Ukraine for the explosions. But this time, it definitely wasn't the work of the SBU. In this incident, the Russian hand is clearly visible.
In actual fact, this particular situation looks much more like a deliberate provocation, especially considering that the Mosvos somehow ultimately ended up very close to Turkish sovereign territorial waters, not even remotely close to the coastline itself. It's typical for Russians to present different information about the same case in order to fill the information space with as many contradictions as possible. In their initial reports, they said it was heading from Moscow to Georgia, and any sailor would wonder, why did it make a 150 nautical mile detour? And how did it even end up there in the first place?
After all these incidents, of course, Russia couldn't help but respond. Putin himself came out and threatened to cut Ukraine off from the sea in response to the attacks on ships.
If this continues, we will consider the possibility. I'm not saying that we will do this, but we will consider the possibility of retaliatory measures against the ships of those countries that help Ukraine carry out these operations, these active operations. Well, the most radical way is to cut Ukraine off from the sea. Then it would be impossible for them to conduct such operations at all.
The only catch is, if the Kremlin could have done this, it would have done so long ago. That's why Putin's words are just more threats that have nothing to do with reality.
Russian ships that try to control Ukrainian shipping and intercept Ukrainian vessels are sinking in droves because Ukrainians are destroying them with unmanned naval drones. That's exactly why Russia can't do anything about Ukrainian ships. Not because it doesn't want to, but because it can't. So yes, in this sense, Russia can't get angry and retaliate because it's already doing everything it possibly can. But
Ukraine, on the other hand, still has something to scare them with. The exceptional Sea Baby naval drones were already deadly, but now their power has increased even more. Just over a month ago, the security service showcased a new generation of the legendary naval drones. The upgraded drones are now capable of covering distances of over 1,500 kilometers and carrying up to 2,000 kilograms of cargo. They have reinforced engines and a modern navigation system. And it seems that the Russian tankers Kairos and Verat were the first to experience them firsthand. The first, but definitely not the last. What do you think of the work of these naval drones? And what do you think, were they behind the attack on the Mersin vessel, which was anchored off the coast of Senegal? Or is it still too far for now? A bit too far. Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the Arsenal channel so you don't miss anything interesting.